Welcome to Capture the World with Dee. Interviews with companies and individuals to learn more about digitally capturing the built world. Video, drone, 3D tours, pictures, panoramas, and more. And now your host, a social influencer and community activist, Dee Johnson.
Hey everybody, welcome! This time I did remember to push the go live button, so hopefully you can all see us. Shout out to us if you can see. I welcome to Capture the World with Dee. I am of course your host, Dee Johnson, and we have some great guests coming today. Today's episode is sponsored by Casa, the makers of a revolutionary app that allows you to scan a property in under 5 minutes using a mobile device. You get a professional floor plan in less than 1 business day. If you haven't checked them out yet, go to QB.casa and start scanning today. Your first scan is always free. That's QB, C-U-B-I .casa. Sorry. All right, my guests today are the co-founders of Kuula, an all-in-one virtual tour platform where you can upload photos, edit tours, share, embed, and a whole lot more. These tours are so impressive, and their story is going to astound you. So without further ado, please help me welcome Magda and Bartek.
Hello.
Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. Hold on. All right, so welcome and thanks for joining me. Let's start off this session today with each one of you telling us a little bit about your background because it's just you guys have a fascinating story.
Yes, thank you so much, Dee, for having us. We are really honored to be part of the podcast. So let me tell you a few words about myself. My name is Magda. I have over 15 years of marketing and branding experience. I used to work in big multinational companies back in Europe. I worked for Kraft in Poland, and then we moved to Sweden, and there I worked in a cosmetic company, Oriflame. And in 2000, around 8 years ago, we moved to California. And we started to be not only partners in life, but also partners in business. We have 3 kids. They are 13, 10, and 9. And we live in Santa Monica, California now, and we love it.
Okay, so I worked in a somewhat similar area of marketing and advertising, but mostly with advertising agencies and production companies. So when we moved to Santa Monica, I worked for a company called Tool, which is a company with many years of experience of creating TV commercials. And my role was to create the interactive projects that their client were looking for. So we assembled a team and we did a lot of projects for big companies like Google, Apple, and Twitter. We won some nice awards for our works, that including we did a documentary about the missile Cuban crisis, which was like the 50th anniversary back in 2012, for which we got an Emmy. And after my experience with this company, when we settled in the US, I quit the company and we started our own project, which is Kuula.
So now you can all say that you've met somebody who's won an Emmy. All right. So tell us how Kuula came to be.
Yeah, so Kuula was born from Bartek's passion to code, that's for sure, and from our passion to travel and to take photos. So it happened in 2016, in the beginning of the year, that we went on a family trip to Sequoia National Park, and Bartek took the first 360 photo with his mobile phone.
Yes, I discovered that the Androids back then had this photosphere function where it was made for people who would upload those photos to Google Street View. So you could take a 360 photo with your phone. It's not very perfect, but I really was fascinated by how it works.
Yeah, so pretty much every photo from this trip was a 360 photo.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also, we wanted to share them with our family and friends. And it wasn't easy for us to find a player to share it properly. So Bartek was like, no worries, give me 3 days and I will write a simple player and people will be able to use it. And using it, people, they will be able to show to see our pictures. So it took him like, I think, a couple of days really to
Amazing.
So
to have this prototype ready.
yeah,
this is how it started.
The thing is that back then you could already share those photos on Google Studio, but what I wanted was to have a private, more like personal way of sharing those photos. So we built this player. I also had like a piece of code from some other projects that was able to generate like this pretty cool lens flare effect. So I used that as well, which became one of our first kind of distinguishing feature of Kuula later on. And we still have it.
We still have it and people love it and use it.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Tell us more about that.
So it's like a little feature where you can just put a marker on where the sun is in the photo, and then when you look around, there will be like a lens flare effect generated with a couple of nice effects, which is something that's very popular in games or things like that. So we kind of use that algorithm to add it to our website. It's one of the first features we had, and it's still there. And people seem to use it a lot because we see people using this.
Cool.
When they upload photos to Kuula.
That's very cool. Okay, so Kuula came about because of something that you guys needed, which is always the best way to create a product, out of a need that you see and you think that other people have. All right, so tell us more about the product and what all the exciting features are that you have.
Yes, so Kuula is a subscription-based platform. So you can upload your 360 photos, VR images, and you can create virtual tours. Right now we have like plenty of different features, and we offer 3 plans. We have a basic plan which is free, so you can upload your photos. There is a limit of like 100 photos a month, and you can create virtual tours. The only thing that you cannot do having the basic plan is you cannot share your work publicly. So you can test all the features and see whether it's a good fit for you. But then if you want to publish it and embed it on other websites, you would need to upgrade to our Pro plan, which offers like a ton of different features that you
But with the free plan, you can share just photos, but you cannot add any interactive elements to them and share it. So that's where the difference is between the free and the paid plan.
Okay.
Yeah, and we also have a business plan, which adds like a number of more advanced features like Google Analytics, and you can also create landing pages. So using Kuula, you can create a website basically with your 360 content, with your virtual tours, with your 360 photos. You can add other elements. There is possibility to add like some social elements to it too.
Yeah, and you can use your own domain for that.
Oh, pretty exciting. Cool. Okay. And what cost for each of these plans, apart from the free one?
So we have monthly and yearly plans. The yearly plans are around like 25%
compared to the monthly.
Yes, and they start with like $12 a month for the Pro plan and $36 per month for the business plan.
For yearly payments, yes.
Cool. So tell us more about the features in the Pro plan. Besides, so you can take 360 panos and upload those. Because I know there's a VR element to it too, right?
Yeah.
So the virtual tour editor that we offer is all browser based, so it's easily accessible from any device. And you can upload photos and connect them together into walkthroughs in a very flexible way. So like how the connections between the photos work and how everything is set up is entirely up to you. You can connect photos from the same space, but you can also connect photos from totally different spaces in one big tour. That really depends on what you are after. We don't really put any requirements on the users how they should shoot the photos. I thought there is always ways of doing this, that will result in a better and more like seamless tour. But a lot of our users create tours that are a composition of 360 photos from an interior, eventually maybe some aerial 360 photos showing the area outside, some 2D photos that show some details. So you can put this together, link all the photos with hotspots, and then on top of this, you can add interactive cards, as we say, as we call it, which is like a hotspot that opens a card. The card can contain a number of different features like text, video, or maps, or anything you would like to add as a detail. And we also, our latest release was an expansion of our audio capability. So right now you can upload an audio that's a background music.
Ooh, nice.
And you can upload audio per post. So create like a virtual tour that's kind of guided, for example, by a voiceover.
Oh, that's a very nice feature. So a lot of people ask for that, actually. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me why I would buy a business plan versus a pro plan.
Yeah. So the business plan is our idea of the business plan is that we offer everything what the pro offers as well. So you get everything in this package plus a few extra things. Right now, those extra things are centered around 4 features. One is the custom domain. So if you want to have your own custom domain under which you share the tours instead of kuula.co, you can register your own domain. And all the links or the shared links, everything you share will use your custom domain. So it will make it very easy for you to completely whitelist and custom brand those tours. That's actually that function was born out of the need of people who wanted to share their tours on Facebook and not have attribution to Kuula, because Facebook and other social networks make an automatic attribution from the domain from which you shared. So that's why we added this function. Another one of the more advanced features included in the business plan is password protection. So some of our users require a little bit more privacy. Like we already offer an unlisted option and for our pro users, but password protection is like the name suggests, it allows you to add an extra layer. Even if someone gets the link to your tour but doesn't know the password, will not be able to view it. So that's like for especially those like corporate clients that need a little bit extra security. One more thing is the blending page editor. So this is a tool that will allow you to create a website around your 360 content. You can create sections with different tours, with different lists of tours, add some text and your contact information. So basically it's like a little website creator, which can allow you to very effectively and easily present your work if you are, say, a photography agency or a drone photographer.
So it allows you to incorporate all different types of photography. So talking about that, who would be the type of person that would use your product?
Yeah, so Kuula is pretty universal, so it works with many different industries. So the majority of our clients would be people that work in business, that work in like real estate. Then we have like many clients working in architecture, and it was actually like a surprise for us when we started it, because like we didn't realize like how big this market is, and that people need a player like that to share the work and also like to show people non-existing projects. So we have like many clients coming from this sector. We also work with construction companies, and there is also like some big names working with us, and they love our product, and especially what they like about us is that we are flexible, like we allow flexibility and we allow to add many different assets, like, like different videos, 360 videos, regular videos, drone photos, flat or like 360 drone photos. You can add labels. You can add text to like any picture to and like to any piece of this like interactive presentation. So this is what they what's important to them and what they like about Kuula. And we work with many different businesses coming from like hospitality industry. So we work with restaurants that want to have a nice 360 virtual tour presenting on their website. We work with like event planners and conference spaces, so hotels and businesses that rent different spaces like wedding spaces or conferences. Who else?
Well, last but not least, we have a nice community of artists that either render 360 for imagery or sometimes just hand draw them, which is amazing, on like the special patterns that allows you to draw a 360 image using like traditional drawing techniques, but then you can upload it and it looks great as a panorama. So these are either artists or sometimes artists that work for advertising agencies, use Kuula as a platform to present their 360 work.
Yeah.
So
and this is how actually how also like how it started, like pretty much like the first, like one of the first images was a 360 drawing, and it went viral. So
we
it
had
was just
our
amazing.
first like
I mean it's an amazing piece of art. It's a 360 drawing, like where is Waldo?
Like where is Waldo type of image.
So you have to find him, and it's amazing to just like look around and like look for him.
Yeah, well,
and it's not that easy to find him, but it's like it's beautiful. Like it's there. Yeah, we are gonna post. Yeah,
it was one of the first like images that that was uploaded to our website by this artist from France, and it went viral, and a lot of websites, including like major news outlets around the world, embedded the image in their articles when they covered this find. So it was a really nice experience, and it also gave us some visibility. Back in almost 4 years ago.
Yeah, and it was also good to test our backend.
Yeah, it was great to test our backend.
Well, yeah, because you guys have been in business for a while, and you have a lot of customers.
Yes, we have like we grow organically. The company is like bootstrapped, and right now we have over
100,000 users.
Wow.
And we've just hit a big milestone. 1 million photos have been uploaded to Kuula just in the beginning of the year. So this is amazing, and thank you everyone. And also like we have around 100,000 virtual tours that have been already created using our platform. So it's also like it's very impressive to us, and we are very thankful and grateful for what you do, because also like with you we can we learn every day how to make it even better. So it's a great journey.
So as our traffic grows, we kind of improve our servers to make everything work fast and be responsive, even in case of like traffic spikes.
Yeah. All right. So what is your secret sauce? What makes you different from everybody else?
I mean, we've been around for a few years right now, 4 years to be exact. And I think, what we are doing is we are trying to keep like this tight loop between adding new features, seeing what the users say, analyzing what they want, getting back to them and adding the next feature, and then kind of always be in this loop, never really finish adding or improving the website. It's funny because in a way, like we have people asking for a certain feature, and like it seems like everybody's really want this feature, and sometimes I feel like when we add this one feature, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be the perfect product, and everybody will be happy. And then when we add this feature, suddenly everybody's asking for something new that I never. So it's like an ongoing experience, So we always try to add the features that we feel like our users really need based on what they write to us. We try to make it bug free, so like remove all the bugs. This is getting more and more difficult as we go, because the only bugs left at this point are those really complex ones that are hard to discover. And to fix, typically bugs are easy to fix. The difficult part is to find them. And then one more thing is one thing that we always try to do is to make the software easy to use. Like we try not to complicate it, not to add too many buttons. Always think about if there is a feature that has like 5 buttons or requires 5 clicks, can we make it down to 3? Can we remove 4 buttons and replace it with 1 checkbox somehow? And so that way we try to make something that's powerful but easy to use. We just don't want to overload the software with too many options.
So Thorsten is asking, can you go over again when you were founded and how all that happened? I think he missed it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Hi,
How
Thorsten.
everything? Hi, Thorsten. Thank you for joining us. So yeah, it started from like passion to travel, Bartek's passion to code, and our passion to travel. We moved to California in 2011, and in 2016 we did this family trip to Sequoia National Park. And Bartek used his Android phone, and he took a first 360 photo, and then he realized that it was like amazing, and he started taking like, I don't know, hundreds of 360 photos, and then we wanted to share them with our family and friends.
It was like winter of 2016.
Yes, January 2016.
January 2016.
And then we couldn't easily find a player to use to share it, and he decided to write it himself. So he was like, give me 3 days, I'm gonna write it, and then we will share it with our friends.
The funny part here is that back then everybody already knew Google Studio, but Google Studio was not what I wanted, like this more like flexible and private in a way, kind of way of sharing 360, not as part of this like whole system. But Facebook did not support 360 photos back then. They introduced the support maybe 6 months later. But of course, there were websites that allowed them. It's just we didn't find them, which was kind of lucky.
Yeah. So in the beginning, when we started it, we realized that it works. It's great. Like people love it, and then we started like building on it. So our first idea was because it was still like very new, and we were users of like other social media platforms. And we were thinking of creating a 360, like what Instagram is to regular pictures and YouTube is to video. We wanted to create a 360, like an Instagram for 360 photos and VR images.
Yeah, like place where people would share, then have this like followers, likes, and all this like Instagram kind of type of infrastructure. So we actually built the first version of Kuula was sort of like something like that. And a lot of these features are still around. Like you can follow people, you can like their photos.
Nice.
We still like have like the feature of the day, and we feature the best virtual tour. So it's still there, and it seems that people like it, because also it's a great, like you can comment a picture, and it's also a great tool for others to like ask a question. We get like some photographers get so many questions about like how they shot it, like what equipment they use. So
yeah, that was the initial. And we also had like an interesting story where a few months in, as Kuula was kind of operating around and we were sharing those photos, we got contacted by a host of a TV show on CBS called Entertainment Tonight, and he was really into 360 photos. So we went down to Hollywood to see him, and he took a 360 camera. Back then, the coolest camera of the day was the Samsung Gear 360. This like little ball, the first one that they released, and he took it with him to I don't know if it was the Oscars or maybe the Emmys.
I think it was the Oscars.
Yeah, and he shot a lot of photos when he was interviewing, people like Jerry Seinfeld and Kerry Washington and all this like other. And we posted this online, and it was really nice because people started seeing our photos. We got a really nice exposure. So that was around this sort of like social events, like the viral Waldo image, or this Oscars ceremony, that we kind of started building our traffic. But as time went, we did realize that we need to provide something more than just a handy way of sharing a 360 photo. So, you know, we came up with this idea of creating like a whole software that, you know, to use comparisons would be some sort of like PowerPoint for 360, where you could kind of, you know, enhance the photos with information, with hotspots, with pop-ups and text. And I think this is still where we are. You know, we discovered this whole market of, you know, virtual tours for real estate, which is, you know, which I'm sure you know, is a pretty big market, and there is a lot of different companies that offer, you know, different products and different approaches. So our approach was to give people something that's flexible, that doesn't kind of put them in just one way of doing things.
And also a product that works across like all devices. So we want our, you know, like our virtual tours and 360 photos to work like on every desktop, on like on every mobile phone, and also in VR. So you can like view 360 photos and virtual tours in VR.
Oh, cool. So your website is kuula.co. It's CKUULA.co. So if you can repeat that, because I don't think my audio is working very well, and tell us how you chose that name.
Yeah, so you know, like it's a nice story. We love it. We come from Poland, and we are still, you know, like Polish at heart, and we wanted to have like, since we moved to, you know, like to California, we wanted to have something that would still relate to our roots. So so we were looking for a name that would be related to what we do, but also like to the place where we are from. So Kuula in Polish means,
with a single U.
With a single U, it means, yes, it means a sphere.
So it makes a lot of sense for naming. But the domain Kuula with a single U was already taken. So yeah, we went for a W.
But also like the W, the W.
No, not the W, at 2 U's. It's not a W.
Oh yeah, it's not. It's 2 U's, and it has a meaning in some other languages. So I think in Finnish or in Estonian, it means a sphere. So
we don't speak Finnish, but we have a Finnish neighbor, and she told us that, and we were, that works. That works great.
So tell us your website.
The URL is kuula.co.
It's not .com, it's .co.
It's .co, yes, .co. It's .co.
Cool. Well, you have a fascinating story. You've met a lot of famous people along the way, and it's quite intriguing. We will put the link to that Where's Waldo picture in the comment section, so people can
we will send it to you, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, we've learned a lot today. Thank you, Magda Bartek, for joining us. It's been enlightening and a real enjoyment to have you. Again, if you're watching, if there's any tech, product, or company that you want to learn more about, let me know. If you're watching, you can put it in the text here, or if you're watching the recording, you can add it to the comments below, and I will respond to you. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to watch. I know there's a problem with the audio, because some of you are telling me. I apologize for that. I'm going to have to really figure this one out. But anyway, thank you for your time. This has been Capture the World with Dee. See you next week. Bye.
Yes. Thank you, Dee, and everyone.
Thank you.